Hi, so this is spot 2 for our 2019 sampler, and it is the Moyne Star. And this is a little bit different done than some that you'll see. This one floats within the square, so the points don't go all the way out to the outside border. So to get started with that, we would take our packet of number 2 fabrics. I already have mine sewn together to show you. So on the very first thing we do is we're going to sew our strips together, and you want to stagger down the 2-inch of the strips. An easy way of staggering down is just to take your first strip, fold it over to the 45-degree like that, and start the next one there. That's the easiest way than to have to measure. You've already got your measurement right there on your strip. So we sew our strips, we're going to press them to our print. Each one of these has the print. So this is accent 1, accent 2, accent 3, and accent 4. So we're going to then, once we get them all sewn and pressed, we're going to trim these with a 45-degree ruler. So any ruler has most all rulers have a 45-degree angle on them. So we're going to use the 45-degree angle right there. We're going to place it on the bottom of the strip so that we are, 45 is right there, and we're on all the fabric on both sides. Then we're going to be able to take our cutter and we're going to trim off that first part. And now we're going to read over the side of the ruler. This is very important. You want to bring the 45 down so that we are reading across the ruler 2 inches. 1, 2. So 45 on the bottom, we have our 2 inches right there, and we're going to cut our diamond. You can generally get 2 diamonds out of a segment before you need to check the 45-degree angle. So we're reading across the ruler, not this way, the ruler. Then we're going to take our ruler and we're going to place the 45 on the bottom, like such, and we're going to bring it over with the 45 at the bottom, and we're just going to make sure that we are even all the way around. It's a little bit wider at the top, so I'm going to trim that. It's nothing that you've done or I've done to make that incorrect. It's just the ability of the 45-degree angle with the stretching of the fabric. So now I can go ahead and I can continue to cut. You need 4 diamonds out of each strip set. And so I have those already done here. So this is actually accent 4 and 3 and 4. And so there is 3 and here is 4. And so you want to lay these out so that the main print is across from itself. So it's across this way. You do not want to do it this way because then you would get your main print all in one row. So we're doing it this way. We're going to take the first diamond, the top diamond, place it on top, or segment, and place it on top so that we can take a ruler and we can put the 1/4-inch line on the outside edge and just draw a line there. And then you can do the same thing on the other side. Put the ruler with a 1/4-inch ruler right there on the outside edge, draw the line. And then you can take a pin and you can stab through where this crosses the seam and match it to where that one crosses the seam, and you should hit that same mark. We then will be able to sew, and you really want to show that we start at the V there at 1/4, and you should be able to end at the V here at 1/4. Once we have sewn all the way down, we are then going to take and press it. So I would just take it and I would press it. There it is, over to the darker fabric, and so I'm pressing it that way. And then you can take these and make all of the diamonds. You're going to make 4 of each diamond for each of the corners of the block. So the next thing we do after we get all of our diamonds made is we have to decide whether we want the dark in the middle or the light in the middle. I chose to put the dark in the middle on my block right there, so that you can see that the light is on the points on the outside. Then we're going to take our 4 5/8 inch triangles, and we're going to place these on our blocks. So the one on our first one goes on the outside edge here, but we're going to line up approximately 3/8 of an inch at the bottom here, and that is just allows us to go through at 1/4 of an inch there. This is the hard part of this pattern. So we're just going to go all the way up, but we're going to mark it right there, and then we're going to take and we're going to sew that, and then we do the other side. This one goes on this side, right side together, but it will go this way. So we're going to line up the corners so that you're going right through that junction right there at 1/4 of an inch. And we'll sew all the way up. Pressing is very important in this pattern. What you want to make sure you do is you press in the direction of the arrows on the pattern. The accent 3 and 4 gets pressed toward the diamond. The accents 1 and 2 gets pressed away to the triangle. So it's important that we learn to do that in all of the steps of this pattern. I'm going to place the 45-degree angle of the ruler right on the seam that we sewed, and now I'm going to even up the edge right there, and I'm going to trim off the corners. So 45 here on the seam, and I'm going to line up the edge here, and I'm going to trim that off. This is going to allow the blocks to float and be the perfect size that we need for this quilt. Okay, so the next step is to take our large triangles. So these are the 6-inch triangles that are cut once diagonally, or squares that are cut once diagonally. And we're going to take these, and they go this way this time. So this one is going to line up to the top here, and when it folds over, it should be at the same junction right there that we'll start sewing. And it lines up to the top. And then on this side here, this one lays like this, and it's going to go here, lining up the top, and should be matching right to there. We're going to sew those, and then I'll show you how easy this is to put together. Trim off any tails and any threads that are hanging off. And then this one is going to get pressed to the diamond, and this one is going to get pressed to the triangle. Once we have them pressed, we're going to take these two, and what's nice about this is if you have a little bit of a hangover here, all you can need to do is just take the ruler and even it out to a point somewhere up there, and just trim that little tiny tail off, and then everything will line up perfectly. We're then going to take this one here, and we're going to place it on top here, and we're going to sew the seam from that corner to here. This seam will butt into itself. You want to make sure that those seams do butt into each other. And if we're lucky, this seam right here will butt, and then you're going to sew all the way down. Okay. Once these are sewn together like this, and you press the seam again in the direction of the arrow, then we're just going to sew these together. I have this one to show you here, as if it was sewn. It's going to make the complete diamond or star. So sew here, sew there, then trim our little tails off, sew the two together, and spin that center seam just like we did in the half square triangle blocks from last month. So we're just going to spin this center seam right there by taking out those few stitches top and bottom of the seam. Okay, so that is our block 2.